Excuse me. So let us start with, or let me start by saying good evening, everybody. My name is Shegun Olu, as you can see on your screen, and this is Objectv Media. Well, in Imo State, a building that was demolished earlier today is said to be by Governor Ihedioha. Sorry, I beg your pardon. So, but the government has come out to say no, it is not being demolished by the state government. But that it is a long-running covenanted battle between the family that owns the land, and that it was illegally taken by former Governor Richard Okorocha, and that now the court has decided that the land be returned to the rightful owner, and that it is the rightful owner that is now currently demolishing the building. In case you have seen this video earlier today, or if you have not seen it, see it now. So that's the building being demolished, and so on social media a lot of people are saying, oh, this is the first project embarked upon by the new governor that has just been sworn in. But he came out to say, no, this is not me doing this, this is the family that owned the property coming out to sort of retrieve the land and then demolish what is on it. All right. So another news item today is from Osun State. The PDP candidate Adeleke, that is the uncle to Davido, you know, as won at the appeal courts. The suit that challenges his eligibility to contest the election. So he has won at the appeal courts. Now there are two separate cases, mind you. The first one that is challenging the governorship candidate of APC, that is the person who has been so declared winner of the Osun election. That one has also won at the appeal courts, that is the rightful winner of the election, while Adeleke is challenging that he is not the winner. Whereas there's another suit brought against Adeleke himself, that he was not even supposed to be in the contest in the first place because he was not eligible. Now he has won, Adeleke has also won that at the appeal court. So there are now two cases running simultaneously. The one challenging the victory of the APC candidate, and the one challenging eligibility of the PDP candidate to win. Now we understand that this is happening so that if Adeleke wins the eligibility suit even to the Supreme Court, no, sorry, let me put it this way: if Adeleke wins the battle that he won the election at the Supreme Court, they want to make sure that at least the other suit disqualifies him at the Supreme Court, so that it does not he would not have even won an election. He was not qualified to contest in the first place. That is why they brought that suit, especially bordering on that he forged this certificate or was impersonated or blah blah blah. Whatever the case, that is the update as per the two matters. If you ask me my opinion, as you know, I don't have. But let's go on to the next matter. In this one I will have opinion, and that is the matter of Naira Marley. Earlier today, Naira Marley was returned to court to discuss his bail. Alright, so the court granted him bail to the sum of 2 million naira and 2 shorties in like sum. Now a lot of people have taken to social media again, especially young Nigerians who are bereft or deficit in sense of history, are saying that Naira Marley is the next Fela. Yes, is this true? Is this false? Well, what are the characteristics of Naira Marley that makes him Fela-like, and what are the characteristics that cannot make you equate Naira Marley to a Fela? Well, if you say is doing something that the government is trying to clamp down on, well, Fela was a rebel, okay? But is Naira Marley a rebel, or is he trying to replicate what people in government are doing? Alright, now Fela was always challenging the government. Is it the same thing with Naira Marley? Because when we say Naira Marley and Fela, I mean, let us not entertain profanity. Let us not entertain what some people might even call blasphemy. You know. Alright, so having said that, what are the qualities of Naira Marley that can make you equate him to Fela? Would it not amount to insult to call Naira Marley a fella. Now, I understand that if you go to shrine, a lot of people will say, oh, if you go to shrine, one of the things they know Fela for is that he was carrying women, or he had so much women around him. Some would say, oh, what they know about Fela is that he smoked. He was smoking marijuana, even though the federal government banned, criminalized marijuana. Fela smoked marijuana. Now, if you say because Naira Marley is going to face prosecution, and it's the same reason you want to equate him with Fela, then what are the circumstances surrounding why Fela went to jail? What are the circumstances surrounding why Naira Marley is facing his own prosecution? It is the same thing when I heard some people equating Naira Marley to Fela by saying, no, they are equating Naira Marley to Nelson Mandela. They say, oh, Nelson Mandela went to jail and came back great. These people went to prison and came back and became president. And then the question I want to ask is, what are the circumstances that made Mandela go to jail? He was fighting for freedom of the people. Would you say the same thing about Naira Marley? I'm not taking any position. I'm just asking questions and laying premise for this conversation. All right, that is on one part. Number two, would you say because Mandela went to prison and therefore became a hero from prison, would you also say Tony Aneni that went to prison is also an hero, is also a hero in the equivalent of Nelson Mandela? Or would you say every other person that has gone to prison are therefore equated to Nelson Mandela and also equated to Fela? Obafemi Awolowo also went to prison. Now, the circumstance that led each person that went to prison, they are not the same. All right. Now, there are people we call prisoners of conscience. Okay, when you stand as a rebel and say, what I am doing, I'm doing it, and I'm doing it for real, and I'm not backing out. I'm saying it is right. Okay, if Naira Marley can stand, now they have granted him bail, which I also support. Let him be coming from home to face the substantive trial. Okay, I support that. So it's good. Let Naira Marley be coming from home to face his trial. Now, the question would then be the ultimate substantive matter itself. All right. Now, if Naira Marley is freed, if he can come and face the substantive matter and say, I am not guilty, and I am not guilty because I believe that in the face of unemployment, Yahoo Yahoo is no crime, then you can now begin to say, yes, he wants to tread the path of Fela, because Fela will tell you, I am saying it is okay to do this. Because according to Martin Luther King, if you break a law that conscience tells you is not right, then you're on the right path. Alright? But if you break a law and you want to deny breaking it, then that is another thing altogether. So if Naira Marley will come to court from home, now that he has been granted bail to be coming from home to face his trial, if you can come to court and say, yes, I support Yahoo Yahoo, and the reason I'm supporting it is because government has not provided employment, then I can say, yes, he's brave to want to start towing, start towing, not yet, to want to start towing the path of Fela. Fela was a prisoner of conscience. Somebody will do something and stand by and say, I do am. Yes, I do am. Alright? So, before you can equate somebody to Fela, the person, you get it? The person must be able to stand and say, yes, I do am. Alright? I am not sure, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to ask Sheon Kuti, I'm going to ask Dede Mabiaku and a few other persons around Fela if they accept the equation of Naira Marley to Fela. I'm going to ask them. Okay? But even before asking anybody any question at all, my own individual assessment of the circumstance, I do not think that you can equate Naira Marley to Fela. If you want to support or solidarize with him, do that neutrally. But to equate him to Fela, maybe it will amount to an insult. Okay, it will amount to an insult. All right. Now, having said that, let us be careful how we judge situations. If Naira Marley will come to God and say, I did it, and I'm standing by it because I want to represent the voice of Yahoo boys, they have right to continue to scam people for as long as this government does not provide employment. Yes, I stand by. Then I will now say, yes, he wants to start towing the path of Fela. You don't say somebody is a Fela because he smokes. You don't say somebody is like Fela because he carries women. No, those are not the ideological basis. Those are not the ideological basis for determining or judging or equating a Fela. These are completely wrong premises. So you cannot say somebody is like Fela because he smokes. No. The philosophy, like we have philosophy, the philosophy of the Abamieda is in the ideology, not in the smoking of Igbo. Or, no. If it is by smoking, there are people who smoked cigarettes more than Fela, or even smoked Igbo better perhaps than Fela, but they are not great for it. Fela is great for the challenge, the symbolic representation of the struggle, of the street aspiration, of the yearning of the masses. That was the embodiment that Fela was. As a result, you cannot equate just any fellow with a Fela. So the philosophy that we celebrate today, you will be insulting it by just calling anybody a Fela because he's facing trial for criminal charges. That is not so. Everybody that therefore faces criminal charges is a Fela. Is that so? No, I'm not saying Naira Marley is guilty, but I'm saying for the crime for which he is being alleged and charged or tried, if he can stand and say, yes, I represent the voices of Yahoo boys, then he can start doing the part of Fela. Fela will stand and say, yes, I do am. And now the reason why I do am be this. If you talk or say, make this one the steal, make Abiola ITT. I'm sorry, Abiola family, but that was Fela for you. They fear anything. If you talk, say, Babangida the steal, Imam Mudigbaladun, Pastor Namiliki, Pope na enjoyment, Obasanjo na tif, make people come they suffer. Now why I do am? That is Fela for you. So if Naira Marley can come out and say, okay, if it talk, say, make people they suffer, make employment no day, make them no come they steal, so I stop us stealing. If he can do that during his trial, fine. I will say, okay, he's about to start towing the path of Fela. But until then, sorry, if you are equating Naira Marley to Fela, you are insulting the sanctity of that being Fela, and you are insulting the eminence of philosophy. Okay, so philosophy is a practice on its own. Philosophy is a philosophy. It's not just somebody doing. It's not a shaku thing. Yes, Fela tried to domesticate it and bring it down to the masses level by operating at the level where ordinary person can relate by singing in pidgin, not dressing to impress, not wearing suits, being pan-Africanistic and all of those things. Yes, those things you can call Fela. But to now therefore come and be saying Naira Marley because he's being tried for one crime, therefore automatically equate him to Fela, I do not think so. Alright, now let me take comments. Alright, Dotun Ajaguno says, sorry Shegun, but I think you are dwelling too long on this. It's not worth it. Let's talk substantive issues, Joe. I agree with you, but we have to follow the trend and correct anomalies or misnomers in history, because if we are not careful, they are about to make another epoch in history that will send wrong impressions to incoming generations, that this is what Fela represented, and it is the same thing that Naira Marley is representing in modern time. So that is why it is important. We have to see, we are here as, as arbiters to arbitrate when there's going to be disputes in, misinformation in history. So this is about to start another misinformation in history, because your own generations are going, those of you that are older than us, we are going to be the ones that will be left with these shaku people. So we have to make sure that we wrestle the pen from them, not to write the wrong history by equating a Naira Marley to a Fela. Okay, Naira Marley is not even 1 inch on the path of what Fela represents. All right. Ibrahim Daniju said, but he's not arresting for that. Naira was picked up because he was trying to say Yahoo is okay. Positive media, please don't tolerate that guy talking nonsense in this platform. You cannot come here and be enjoying people on this platform calling someone fool. Please block. I'm not aware about that. Dr. Ajag will say, I get your point, but Fela's legacy speaks for itself. What this rates do you think Naira Marley? Well, the reason is that there are many people who are illiterate persons. Some people are not even illiterate, they are even educated, but they are wrongly educated. So we have to stand at the junction and say, no, that is wrong education, that is miseducation of the masses or of the populace. This cannot equate to Fela. We have to set the record straight. If there are no people setting the record straight, there's something called Gobelian lie. Gobelian lie means a lie that is told times and times over. It becomes the truth, because once it is accepted as the truth, it becomes the truth. That is what they call Gobelian lie. And that happens when there are no facts challenging or confronting those lies. So that is why we have to always come out to debunk falsehood and set records straight. I hope you get it now. So Fela's legacy might speak for itself, but who reads these days among all these shaku boys? If they read, why are they equating Naira Marley to Fela? It simply means they don't do it. So we have to stand. The medium they use now these days, they love YouTube, they love Instagram, they love Facebook. We have to go on those platforms and take the message to them. They say, guys, come, don't insult the legacy that Fela left. Fela is not known for smoking igbo. Fela is known for his philosophy. Alright. Ibrahim Daniju says he can never be Fela, Bob Marley, or Mandela, period. And Naira don't even want people to call him that. Okay, good. So we are simply re-educating people who want to wrongly educate themselves. Plenty Water say we have to. Okay, positive. That was yesterday. The man in the mall, or what is called, saying that you are a fool. Forget that. For positive media, can you forget that one? Wisdom Seeker said the similarities is at Fela time smoking weed was so criminalized deeper than what it is now. Naira Marley Yahoo-ness now, which is deep crime, also is correlated to the wisdom. It's not correlated. You know why? Because Fela came out to say that thieving, as in thief, is what should be criminal, not the habit of what I consume with my legitimately earned money. Now, if somebody is now coming to legitimize what Fela criminalized, they are not related, so there's no correlation. All right, Fela was totally against crime, stealing. Fela was against stealing. All right, but somebody is now saying stealing is good, and you are equating him to Fela. I think it's wrong. If you want to eulogize or deify or make hero out of Naira Marley, do it on another playing ground for Yahoo Yahoo. Don't equate it to Fela, because they are two separate things altogether. That's the point I'm making. Alright. Jesus the Ransom says, anyone who is comparing anybody with Fela, the person is tarnishing Fela image and legacies. Yes, young people in Nigeria today are trying to do that, and that is why it is essential, very important for us to correct that wrong impression. You cannot compare somebody who is justifying crime with Fela. Fela never justified stealing. If you listen to I be robber, I no be robber, you be robber, I no be am robber, you be argument, argue, argument upon stealing. Somebody don't take it, something that belongs to another person. You go, yeah, and all of those things. If you listen to the Fela's lyrics, it was opposing completely the idea of justifying stealing. Okay, and then you also remember other lyrics like they no put on for 1 year, then if you put on for 2 years, they no put on for 5 years, then if you put on 7 years, they no put on for 10 years. Okay, instead they go beat and well, they go jail am for armed robbery. Okay, you cannot be robbing people and equating yourself to Fela. It is wrong. We have to correct that, because if it is not challenged, there will be problem. Okay, which is why we have to stand at the junction and stand between it. All right. Thank you, Ian. Yeah, we have to do it. It's very important. These people who are justifying crime and who are trying to equate it to Fela, they belong to my generation. So I have to stand in between and say no, it is wrong, and we have to put the correct information in place. And now most of our youth don't know what's happening. They are after taking tramadol and codeine. No more brain to articulate issues. Too sad. Ibrahim Danjus, we should start pointing all these politicians out now. Uncle Dino and the rest of them are the real Yahoo bosses. Of course, definitely. I mean, that one is no news. EFCC has its own moral guilt, and then for not taking on the people who are the real Yahoo boys in this country. But that does not therefore mean retailing, because that Yahoo is retailing what the people in the Senate are doing, the politicians are doing. You are retailing, you are bringing it to retail, you are making it in retail commodities. All right, the whole sale of political thieving, you want to bring it down in retail quantities and mass produce it to justify what those ones are doing. It doesn't make sense. So while we are condemning those that are doing it at the top, we should not be condoning it. You cannot be condemning and condoning. It's like approbating and reprobating. It doesn't make sense. You cannot be condemning those that are doing it at top and justifying those that condemn the two of them, so that we can get rid of it at the same time. That is the way to do it, in my own opinion. Let's be objective at once and face it. Otherwise, the effect will be waiting for us in future again. If we if you justify one now and be waiting for the effect later, it doesn't make sense. All right, so Yahoo is a retail form. All right, is a retail form of political thieving or corruption at the political vanguard. All right, so let's not retail corruption by justifying Yahoo boys. It doesn't make sense. Let's not retail it. Let's stop it at once. That's the idea I'm bringing to the front burner. God is love says it only shows the level of our Nigerian youth. They learn based on words on the streets than reading and finding facts. Don't compare nobody with Fela. They are incomparable. Simple. Okay. You're welcome, Grace Obianke. So that's the point. Now, those of you that are saying that Fela justified smoking, well, smoking was not illegal during Fela's time. The only thing that was illegal was what you smoke, marijuana. Now, if Fela's argument at the time was that cigarettes is white man's business, it is a killer cigarette, it's a killer tobacco, and they still legalized it and added the warning, smokers are liable to die young. All right, so what Fela is simply saying is that our own marijuana is medicinal. So it is the black man's business. Marijuana is black man's business. Tobacco, cigarette tobacco, is white man's business. So if you are selling white man's business, even though it's a killer tobacco, what is wrong with legalizing, the black man's business that is a curer, or that is a healer, or that is medicinal? So that is what it was. Fela's own was a protest that was legitimate. All right, if you do something that your conscience tells you is right, you should be able to say it openly and be bold to defend it. That was what Fela did, to say that if we legalize marijuana, okay, it will make the black nations richer, because that is what we have and that everybody in the world even needs. But that if we ban what is our own business and legalize what is the white man's business, even though it's a killer tobacco, then we are not opening our brains. It means, and the argument is still at the front burner till today. Recently, during the last election, Showore came out to say that if we package our marijuana very well, that people who need to treat cancer need it abroad, and they even need it now more than oil. And that is about 56 billion naira industry if you properly package it. Okay, now why people call Showore Onigbo and all of those things? Well, after the election, the Ondo State governor alongside NDLA went to another country to go and be looking for how to cultivate marijuana in Ondo State, because they are now realizing that it is the way to go. So having said that, the parameters for judging or comparing Naira Marley to Fela is completely false, wrong, illegal, injusticiable, immoral, and insulting too. So please let us start correcting everybody that you come across on the streets that is trying to equate Naira Marley to Fela. I'm not sure Naira Marley himself wants that kind of comparison, because he knows that he does not measure up to that. As we speak right now, I'm not saying he might come out and want to start being on that path, but for now, far from it. So please don't. In fact, there are two opposites. Don't even try it. All right, don't try it. That's what I will advise you. I don't belong to. I'm not a biological member of Fela family. My name is not. My surname is not Anekulapo. But from what we know, those of us who read history, who read philosophy, who understand some things, at least we can say no. Even from the surface of it, it does not match. Okay, all right. Smart Money says there's no parameter that can be used to justify Yahoo. Reason to say you are right, but the point is legends are made and some are born. Naira Marley is being a legend. Might be a channel is legendary act to a criminal act, but you can talk him to use that energy for positive. Exactly, that is the point we are making. That's why I said if he comes out and stands by it to say I want to be the face of this and I want to liberate people, then we can now start talking about that. You cannot talk to people who are always thinking about how to just obtain people, collect money and enrich themselves, and be equating them to Fela. It doesn't make sense in my opinion. Alright, Emmanuel Paul says I think Shegun and Shenkuti should be suing some of them now. Okay. Reaper Obuk say Fela never stole from anyone. That's the point. Do you get the point now? Fela never said he has been arrested 124 times for criminal charges, for stealing, okay, or for coming out to defend stealing. Fela himself was in fact, Fela was the EFCC in his time. If the government or the media were not reporting thieves, Fela was the one catching thieves by himself and using them, putting them in his lyrics, mentioning the names of thieves. So you cannot be equating Naira Marley to Fela. It's not only an insult. In fact, it's almost what you can call, almost what you can call blasphemy. It's beyond insult to be equating somebody that is justifying crime with somebody that is against crime. Somebody that is justifying stealing, you are equating it with somebody that is totally against the immorality of stealing. Okay, so maybe Naira Marley will now come out and talk to Yahoo boys to calm down and stop doing that, and then start channeling their energy as making the country positive. That way you can now say is now on the path. But for now, if you do it, please, the weed you are taking is not from this world again. Ibrahim Daniel says the state is in America. Okay, sorry, I missed that. It say defamation of character. Am I defaming somebody? Let them sue me to court. Plenty Water says leave Naira Marley. Credit card case, I be the first 6 digits tells the bank name, and when you get bank name, you get real owner. I believe they just using him as fear factor in distraction. No. You are mixing it. before he even sang or before the credit card matter at all, he came on social media to say, if did you see that post he did on social media? He posted that if you know the story of slave trade, you will not condemn Yahoo Yahoo, meaning that he's justifying it. All right, justifying stealing was what led to suspicion. Is he into it? And then the FCC decided to investigate him. He attracted the investigation to himself by justifying it. All right. Now, having said that, I'm not saying he's guilty of credit card fraud as alleged, blah blah blah. And I also want to appreciate the fact that this time, following the widespread condemnation, there were no big, huge gun security around him this time. Okay, and I'm also happy that he has been granted bail so that he can be coming from home to face his prosecution properly. Ibrahim Danjuse, just like McMill, he was jailed for riding a bike and the police lied on him that he pointed a gun at the police officer, but when he was out after 3 years, he faced the justice system of America. No, what I'm saying is this is different totally. Alright, the contexts are different. The lied on him is different from he came out himself to say, if you know the story of slave trade, you will not justify Yahoo Yahoo. That was what attracted the investigation. I'm not saying therefore that he is guilty of what they are now counting in charges against him at court. But there's a moral burden on him to have come out to justify Yahoo Yahoo in the first place, even prior to his arrest. That's what I'm saying. Alright, and you will not find a Fela justifying stealing. I'm not sure, but if you know any part in history, point us to it where Fela justified stealing. Even the much appreciated and much loved Abiola MKO, Fela sang against him and said international thief ITT. Do you get? So Fela was the EFCC of his time, catching thieves and being the face and the center rallying point for the masses on the street. It was not teaching people to go into stealing. All right. Arume say those that are comparing Naira Marley with Fela need brain to be probably examined, or they need therapy. Who is Naira Marley? Who has he used his song to contribute? Okay. Doesn't Daniju say you are what you support, period? Exactly, that's the point. Omotola can say he also said people need to pray for Yahoo boys. Do you get what we are saying now? And when they even tried to caution him, he was attacking those that are trying to caution him, like the rugged man, Simeon. He was attacking everybody for who were trying to caution him that you don't say this as a celebrity. You control minds of many people being a celebrity alone. There are many people that will see you as a model, and whatever you do, they want to copy it. They were trying to correct him, and he was even attacking them. So you don't equate such a person to Fela. That it's beyond insult. Danisa and the federal government checked the population of inmates of African Americans, and a lot of people was freed because there was cases not even enough. Aluebo Austin said this explains why the youth don't have good sense of judgment in electing a credible leader. Comparing Naira Marley to Fela explains it all, and that's the point. Paulo Green, even Fela have prison in Calcutta Republic. So what are you trying to say, Paulo Green? Okay, prison in the sense that if you steal, yes, I learned that. In fact, I learned that those days you cannot even till now, you cannot steal in the shrine and go. TV Fela ate it. Okay, even Seun had a song recently that he was performing. Okay, I did tell Abisa, I personally think that Naira Marley case, we the public should give FCC names and ex and current thieves we all know straight after keeping them busy for once. Okay, smart money, Yahoo Yahoo has become international embarrassment to Nigerians who live abroad. Okay, thank you. And then I was saying something about Seun Kuti, Omu Igbo, Odako Jali, you know, all of those things. If you say somebody is a bad person for smoking weed, it's not immoral. But if you say the person stole money, that is a sin, complete sin. Okay, it's complete sin and at the same time a crime. That is the point. Omogboko Jali. So what are you arresting him for? But Jali, even if you know smoke igbo, na thief. Even if you're a pastor and you are serving in the presidency, or you are serving in any capacity in politics and you are stealing, even if you don't smoke, or even if you occasionally go and see those that supply you secretly, you are a thief. The moment you steal, whether from church or from politics or from anywhere, even if they call you a pastor, you be thief. You deserve to go to prison. All right, that's the point. And I'm going to round off on this now. Denison Johnson say, I pray you learn from this. Nigerians should stop justifying Yahoo Yahoo. This is denting our image international. I'm happy that we are getting to agree over it finally. So let us please keep telling people to stop all these things. It is wrong. So please, if you are one of those that are justifying Yahoo Yahoo or anything, or saying that you are equating Naira Marley to Fela because of, please, it is totally wrong. It's an insult. It's unacceptable. It is profanity. It is at the same time. It is is unholy. Is beyond insult. You know. I don't want to use the word blasphemous, because at the same time you can say it is blasphemous, alright, but I don't want to say it's but don't equate somebody who is justifying crime with somebody who is opposing it. They are two opposites. That is the point. Tracy says, what I meant was that the comparison of that guy with Baba Fela can be considered defamation. Okay, I get you now. Olusholaru says, Shegun, my first time here, good energy. Someone picked up a fight with me on the instance because I said let him come out clean, mind his languages, and sing a better song. Exactly, you should do that. And people have taken me up to, and I don't mind, even physically. Alright, so that's why I decided to do this topic tonight. Alright, I've been busy all day, but I decided, okay, we have to talk about this thing. Alright, look at the premise upon which you are comparing somebody with somebody. It doesn't make sense. Paulo Green says, if you steal anything, you will be jailed in Calcutta. So Fela never encouraged thieves. God bless you, Paulo Green, for coming forward. Dennis Johnson says, how often do you come online? Almost every evening. It's just that I get too busy lately. I've been very busy, but I'll make it frequent these days. But it's almost every evening I come on the show between 7:30 and 10 p.m. I'll come online every day, depending on the time I get back from the rigors and traffic and all of those things on the road in Lagos. You know, you understand it. Even people talking about Naira Marley, that's it. On election day, you are still gonna vote for APC and PDP. Now someone else talk Nigeria will book a table for book a table for Naira Marley, blah blah blah. Okay, it's a Belita. Dennis Johnson says, Dennis Johnson, exactly. If Nigerians know how much this Yahoo has dented their image in the world view, they will fight against with all their might. But you know, they have deliberately decided not to educate people. I don't know, also understand. Buhari refused to fund education. APC government refused to fund education, and then we have so many illiterates in town. Larry Joe say politicians are stealing money in a no talk. We have been talking against politicians stealing money. Stop that thing. Stop saying they didn't talk about. We are talking against both of them. Alright? So we cannot be using Yahoo Yahoo to be justifying politicians, or using politicians to justify Yahoo Yahoo. It doesn't make sense. We condemn both of them, both those that are stealing and Naira Marley's position. Both of them are wrong. So you cannot be justifying one and you cannot be condemning one and condoning the other. It doesn't make sense. Alright? Thank you so much for Paulo Green. If you smoke, you're hurting. If you steal money, you're hurting others' lives. So those who is comparing smart money, I didn't see the full comment. I'm sorry. Alright, now having said that, we need to start setting history straight. Alright, the premises are wrong upon which people are comparing Naira Marley to Fela. It's big insult, it's almost blasphemous, and then we have to stop it, please. Dennis Johnson, if our leaders are thieves, followers shouldn't join them. God bless you. That's the point. You don't justify even the retail mass production of crime at the retail level, or the retailing or wholesaling of crime, okay, on the basis that there's a wholesale. You don't retail it on the basis that there is a wholesale. It doesn't make sense to me. If you agree that something is wrong, you don't you know, if you agree that something is wrong, you don't therefore come and say because the wrong thing has been happening fundamentally after all, we must therefore replicate it. You don't replicate bullshit. Now, I was saying something about the illiteracy of the people. Buhari cannot be claiming that he has integrity on the basis that if you don't fund education and the illiterate masses are going into crime and you want to be arresting them, you are a hypocrite. You cannot be arresting people who have no sense of history, who have no education, who have no means of livelihood, who have no employment. You cannot be arresting them for desperately want to survive, because people tend to resort to desperate measures to survive when there are no, you know, normal means of survival. And that is not to justify the crime. That is why I'm condemning Naira Marley now for even coming out to justify it. Okay, so you don't arrest people for desperately wanting to survive when you have not provided means of livelihood for them. People definitely want to resort to that. There's this frustration aggression theory in psychology, social psychology, that when people are frustrated, they tend to be aggressive. Okay, they are making effort to survive, and it's not working. They definitely will turn aggressive. Okay, so you don't do that. That's the point. All right, so fund education, create employment, create jobs, and if people go into crime, then it will be morally correct to want to stop them by picking them up. But until then, you are the person who is actually encouraging them to go into crime. Smart Money say those who are comparing Naira Marley to Baba Fela are from the pit of hell. So send these videos to them so that they can learn. We need to teach them. All right. Femi Bolaji say if Fela was alive, he would personally jail Naira Marley because he was all against what Baba stood for. Exactly. Samuel A say, what is the joke about? This young man compared to Fela. Again, I think the masses sometimes are their own biggest problems. Something like that. And it's on this note that I want to say, I'll see you guys later, man. I gotta go. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, until tomorrow, please, thank you so much for joining. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please, if you're joining us for the first time, ensure to subscribe on this channel. My name is Segun Olo, and this is the handle. If you are not already following us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and everywhere, this is the handle as you can see it on your screen at Objectv Media. So please follow us, and then tomorrow we'll look at another. Tomorrow expectedly is bill will be perfected, but I'll move on to other important things. All right. I'll move on to other important things tomorrow. I've talked about Naira Marley, and I believe by this time we've already exhausted the topic on him. You should go and sin no more. You should go and repent and start using the clout he now has with the streets to galvanize the youths, galvanize them. Okay, bring them together, let them realize that their numerical strength can be useful in the positive direction to kick out these old people. If all of those you that are doing Yahoo Yahoo, if you muster those energy to push out the old people who are holding your destinies hostage, this country will not be like this, and you will not be desperately wanting to go into crime. That is the point I am making, and I'll keep repeating it until one person at a time will change, the minds or the mindset of young people we have in this country. Share this video with them. If you know anybody who has a tendency to go into crime or criminal activities, send this video to them. Those of them that you know are arguing in favor of Yahoo Yahoo or arguing in favor of comparing Naira Marley to Fela, send this video to them. Let them learn. We need to teach people. Okay, if the classrooms are not teaching anymore, we have to start employing other medium, other media, other platforms, other networks, okay, other groups, every avenue to start using our own ways or means to teach what the schools have failed to teach, what the government has failed to teach, what the religious settings or institutions or organized criminal settings called churches and mosques, what they have refused to teach. We have to start creating our own platforms to start teaching people, and that is the point I am making here tonight. My name is Segun Olo once again. Share this video, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow. I want to leave you with okay, because we are talking about Fela tonight, I want to leave you with Midi Dris, and that's it today. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. God bless you.
must consider the music and the artists. So every artist. So I think as far as Africa